Hi, Christine. Nice to meet you. I'm Ariana.
Nice to meet you, Ariana. Yes.
Awesome.
Let's
I
talk.
love your
What?
look. Yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. A big change from the Mabel we see on on BMF.
for sure. And the Mabel that we see on this episode that we're talking about finally got Charles.
Yes, her plan finally came to fruition. Yeah, it's like she got focused and she played the long game.
Do you think
And
it
yeah,
was a long game, that this was always the plan?
for me, in my creation of Mabel, yes. Yeah, for me, everything about what she did was very calculated. I do believe, again, for my version of her, that yes, Lucille is a friend, but I also believe it's that thing of like hurt people,
Mhm.
right? And even when you think you would never do that because you felt that kind of pain in your life by having being betrayed or cheated on, it often happens where you end up doing the same thing. So for me, that was the seed I planted in myself, just knowing, like, getting a thrill from how dangerous it was. And that, of course, just speaks to the stuff she has going on within her.
Yes. But why do you think she picked Charles? Is because it's kind of seemed that he had like this happy home church life marriage.
Yeah, because that's what Mabel wanted, for herself. And as of course, as the season goes on and we learn more about her story and her being divorced and, being cheated on by, I think we do that naturally. We see couples, we see people on Instagram and think, oh, they have the perfect life. And gosh, I wish I had somebody like that. And instead of going to find your own, I, I messed around and got it really closely. So yeah, I do believe she just admired what they had and wanted it for herself.
Yeah, but why do you think Charles is interested in Mabel?
I mean, who wouldn't be interested in Mabel? He's been, all the drama with Meech and Terry and his wife, and then being overworked, underpaid, not feeling appreciated. We saw, a few episodes ago where he wanted respect, and Lucille's like, you got to earn it. So it was all that back and forth. So I believe it was just something new, something that felt free. Like even when he came over to fix anything at Mabel's house, he says, this helps take my mind off things. This project helps to distract me. So I think everything about Mabel, her house, the chores, the fixing of things is all a big distraction.
Yeah. Do you think your version of Mabel has any guilt about it, or it's kind of all just a game of satisfaction for her?
No, there is absolutely guilt. It's that thing of like, when you're like, I'm good, it's a new year, I'm gonna go on a diet, I'm gonna eat clean, I'm gonna do this raw food diet for 21 days. And then on day 8, you're like, oh, I just want a burger. And then you eat the burger, it was great in that moment. And then you're like, shoot, I said I was gonna do this, right? And so I believe that's how she operates. And I don't believe this is the only time this has happened. As I created her, for me, she has this history. And it's that thing, if you wonder why you don't have the life that you want, or the man that you want, the family that you want, is because you need to work on you. And hasn't done that work on herself yet. She's trying, but not succeeding all the way right now.
Yes. You talk about creating Mabel. And you play so many different types of characters. How do you go about creating characters?
I first start with music. For me, all my characters I find out what the time zone is, what the time, so we're in the 80s, right? So like, okay, then what's the soundtrack to my character? I also do a lot of animal work. So for anyone who's watching, who's not an actor, I like to connect my characters to animals. And so for me, Mabel is like a snake, right? She's smooth.
Oh,
So if you even look at some of my mannerisms and how I move my head and my body, it is all very intentional. So those are my favorite ways to do that. I start with music and animal work. And then, of course, as each script comes out with each episode, I just get to build more and more. And it really helped too, before I was accepted the role, meeting with our amazing showrunner, Randy and Heather, and really talking about where the story of Mabel was going to go. That really helped me build it from the beginning. Because sometimes in TV, you don't get that. The writers, you get the episodes as they write them, but having an idea of her overall arc helped me figure out where I needed to travel her and how we needed to start and how the world meets her in episode 1, very vivacious and friendly at the dinner table. Then episode 9, so it's a fun journey. That's my favorite part of creating characters, is that process.
Which song do you think relates most to Mabel that you were listening to?
I can't specify a song. It's just more of a feeling, a vibe. I would just go to YouTube and play playlists. But like, that's why I love that I was able to, I dance so much in this. So when I knew I was going to be doing that, like anything upbeat that feels sexy, vibrant, and fun, because, our theme this season is temptation and seduction. So I was like, okay, so she has to fit into this world of that. Everything I listen to has to feel like that.
Yes. And would you say that Mabel and Black Diamond have a completely different soundtrack?
Absolutely. Black Diamond on Snowfall, that's definitely more, when I'm, even in my trailer, that's very more aggressive, like aggressive hip hop, like to get me really amped up, tapping more into my masculine energy, actually, which is totally opposite for what I do for Mabel.
For sure. And what attracted you to joining this show? You come in the second season. So were you watching the first season and you were excited to join the project? Did Mabel just speak to you as an actor?
Yes, I was a fan of the show already. So that's number one. So it's always fun to audition for shows that you really like to watch anyway. And then you can see yourself in the world of that. And, Mabel is one of the juicier characters I've played in a while. I do a lot of doctor, lawyer, and now lately, of course, like, hit woman kind of things on Snowfall. But this was a chance for me to step into my femininity, to play with the levels of not just making Mabel one level, right? I wanted her to be three-dimensional. I wanted her to have these layers, because I know the audience, as I see from the comments on social media, you're going to be like, oh, this woman she's just a homewrecker. She's just a bad person. But I wanted to see, how can I find her truth and her humanity and give some layers into why she is the way that she is. So for me, that really spoke to me. When I got to audition several scenes, and I was like, ooh, I like her. This is fun. And it's different than what I've done. It's not expected for me. So yeah, I was grateful that it all worked out.
Yeah, speaking of social media, especially BMF, like shows like this, you get like an instant reaction on social media, like when it drops at midnight. How is that like as an actor? Do you read it? Do you engage with it? Is it just kind of a new headspace to be in?
It is a new headspace to be in. And I think I'm feeling it the most now with this character in this role. Like even just from the third episode, especially when Charles came to fix my fan. I mean, there are people doing skits and reenactments. I mean, it is, so I just kind of sit like with my popcorn really in the back watching. And some comments are not nice, but I remember that I'm Christine Horn. I am not Mabel Jones, right? And if they're having that reaction, that means I am doing a damn good job. Yeah. So I'm loving it. But I mean, sometimes I am in stitches with the memes, Twitter. It is hilarious. But I love how engaged the fans are and how like they're predicting what's going to happen. And so to me, it's all part of the work, and I love it.
Yes. Well, you already know as an actor kind of what's going to happen, but just as someone, while you were reading the script, we see in that episode that Lucille confronts someone else at church about if she's with Charles. But do you think she would give that same energy to Mabel, because she already invited her to dinner? Like, do you think she can come to Mabel like that, or no?
Well, I mean, we're definitely going to find out later this season how she steps to Mabel. But I think she was just so unsuspecting. I don't think anyone expects someone that close to do that kind of thing. So, and it's interesting, as I was reading some of the comments, I could tell there were a lot of fans who thought the woman at church was me also. So that's what I love about episode 5, is you get a very clear understanding that these are two separate people. And the energy Charles is putting out is just Charles doing the most.
Yes, because I even thought, oh, that guitar moment, but I'm like, wait,
right,
Mabel doesn't play an instrument. He's just out there.
Like it was bound to happen. I think whether it was Mabel, the woman at church, it was going to happen sooner or later. I really do
Yeah.
believe that.
As not only as a viewer on the outside looking in, but as kind of the actor who is on the outside looking in, just what do you think is going on with their marriage, Lucille and Charles?
I think, I think it's stress, it is, I think communication, I think once communication starts to go out the window, just everything starts to crumble when people start living their own separate lives and you get stuck in a rut. And I think also, I think it stems also from Charles and like how he sees himself. He's looking at his kids, even that's why not won't accept money and won't do all these kind of things. It's like it challenges his manhood. And I believe
Mhm.
when a man is challenged in that way, it just affects the entire marriage. And then, lack of intimacy, all that. It's just a downward spiral. But what I also love about this storyline and what the writers have done this season by elevating the writing is this is something people can relate to. Anybody can relate to this, whether or not you're following the story for how this drug ring grows or just for the family dynamic. I think that's the thing that's so relatable. None of us are perfect. We have our drama. We want to put on a good face, but we all have to deal with it in some way.
Yes. Yes. As we kind of mentioned that, of course, you're on Snowfall and you're on BMF, and they're both set during a similar time period. And
Mhm.
they're both set in the drug game, but they're also two completely different shows and two completely different vibes. Well, what do you think
Absolutely.
attracts viewers to shows like this about the drug game and also specifically in the 80s?
Well, I think around that time it was just such a big thing. And I think there's as an audience member, as consumers, myself included, when I'm watching things, like we want to root. Sometimes we root for the bad guy, right? We
Mhm.
want to see them win, like because if you've known struggle, or if you've yearned for more, if you've had a dream, something about watching other people, characters, like go for theirs, no matter what, I think inspires us on the inside, whether it's about a young kid playing sports and making it to the NBA, or a drug dealer, you know what I mean? Like some way, even though it's drugs and it's hurting the community and people get addicted, all of that, but something about you just wants to root for people. I think at the core of us, we want people to win, and we see ourselves winning in some way. So that's
Yeah,
what I think.
yeah, because all of these characters are an underdog in some way, and they're
Absolutely.
making the best of the situation, and that can be motivating to anyone in any time
Yes,
period. Um,
absolutely.
we were talking about Mabel, how she has such a completely different style than other characters you play. What are kind of some of your favorite styles from the 80s, or some of your favorite Mabel outfits?
I love like the denim skirts. And there's one outfit, I forget what episode it's on. I want to say it might be 7. Don't hold me to it, but to me, we talked a lot about when we were talking about costumes. She was kind of a mix of like Walona from Good Times and Jack A. Harry when she played Mary on 227 years ago. And
Yes.
so some of the outfits gave me that kind of vibe. And so I would even borrow some of that walking and feel that energy of it. So I love the shoulder pads, the big hair, especially being bald and getting to play in the wigs. That was all a ton of fun.
Yes, yes, yes. So social media kind of actually shows how I feel like a lot of times Hollywood is afraid to invest in Black art because they're saying people don't really watch it, people aren't engaged. But social media and even the numbers are showing that.
Ooh.
What is it like to be a part of these Black productions with mostly Black cast and a Black writer, being a Black woman in Hollywood?
It feels amazing. And it feels nice to be seen. Of course, for me, representation matters, period. No matter the subject matter, how you identify, like it's very important. And it's so nice to be surrounded and to know that when I walk in the makeup and hair trailer, that I am cared for, I
Mhm.
am taken care of. Everyone is, working for the greater good of the production. Like, Randy Huggins, our showrunner, really stressed from day one, elevate. We're here to elevate everything. And so we would all say elevate to each other all the time. Like, so the standard is high. And that narrative of the shows not getting watched, I mean, that's just a joke. I mean, I think the numbers prove that totally wrong. The engagement that you see on social media proves that wrong. And so I think the goal here is just to keep doing good work and keep showing them. And 50 Cent, you know, and putting, like, he's like killing them in the game. You know what I mean? So I'm so happy just to be a part of this world. And I'm just really honored because, you know, I've been doing this for a very long time, but when it's just nice to be on a set where, you know, everyone is working toward making something that is very special and that we can all be proud of.
Yes, for sure. And I, of course, love it as a viewer and as a Black woman, ironically from Detroit as well. I was a baby
Oh,
during this
really?
time period. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, but this is great. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I can't wait to talk to you in the future about this show and future projects. Congrats again.
Oh, thank you. Great questions too. So nice to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you.